Yeah. Today we're just going to be going over a bunch of examples of the model. Sub TWX. Apologize, weak. What's up, KB? Yeah, we're going to be going over all these examples here. And then we'll just go over some trades that I took this week. This week was kind of mid, though, overall, to be honest. All right. You might as well start here, I guess. So you can start at TWX. All right. So we're just going to be going over some top-down examples, like showing from the 4-hour to the profile, right, to the entry. So you can understand the whole process here. So here we're going to start on the 4-hour chart here. This is NASDAQ. So you see at 6 a.m., right? So what is the phase of price first off, right? We expand into this high. Do we get a reversal signature? No, right? We get consolidation. Wait, frozen? Okay. It always does this at least once. Good thing it's early on in the stream. Let me restart. Okay. Is that better now? I think we're good now. Yep. All right, so just restarting. I didn't really skip too much. So we expand this high, right? This relevant high to the left. And what phase of price do we get? Do we get a continuation signature or reversal? We get consolidation, which is not a reversal signature. And we take out the opposing side of the range first, right? Hitting these fair value gaps, creating SMT within the 6 a.m. candle. So you see how this candle's on a particular close. This goes back to this here, the reversals section here. This would be this type of closure, right? Where there's no particular close. We just expect that phase of expansion to occur the next candle because this candle doesn't support it, right? It doesn't support expansion away from this low. So it's just waiting for that 10 a.m. open. So moving on, right? Within that 6 a.m. close, we have a 30-minute E2 closure. So this is price opening up within a continuation sequence where before our open is opening within an already existing fractal model, right? So this is opening up within a 30-minute C2. So we just expect the open of 10 o'clock to expand within that 30-minute C3 closure, right? So this is also 9:30 running out this low, which is a New York reversal, right? We have the previous two sessions consolidating, New York manipulation and reversal. As you can see here, 9:30 creates an opposing run. And then inside of C2, we don't have a CSD. So C3 creates that CSD. And then we are able to enter this trade, right? Stop loss below here, targeting that range high. Here's also another entry within C4, where we see expansion, right? The candle 4 opens here, makes an opposing run out this short-term low, getting a closure above here. So that's also another entry as well. Let's go to the next example. Here's an example where Asia is actually low day, right? So at this point, we already have the small opposing run on the daily time frame. Now it's just we must confirm price expanding away from all these lows. So that's always going to, I'm always going to pair that confirmation with the driver, and you're going to see here. So this is a relevant high to reverse off of. So if it was going to be a bearish day, we would see price reverse off of this high into these lows, right? But it doesn't do that, right? We more so consolidate. And 10 a.m. is again opening up within an already existing fractal model where we create a swing point here, right? So we're trading candle 4 expansion. And here, 9:30 is trading away from all those low resistance lows. So that's how you know that we can actually trade away from these levels, right? And then 10 a.m. opens low, creates this 8 opposing candle, and we close through that. So this is a valid entry. You have the option to market execute on the close or wait for a retest. There's pros and cons to both, right? If you wait for a retest, you have better RR. But the con is you might not get this tap, right? You might miss the whole trade, which is not ideal. There's another entry right here as well, a valid entry. So moving on. Here is just a 10 a.m. reversal. Right? You see the 10 a.m. reversal into expansion candle. So that would look something like this, right? Reversal types, right? Reversal into expansion. That's literally what we see here. I keep going to this, right? Reversing off 6 a.m. low. So what we see here is none of the previous candles, right, created a reversal, right? Didn't really trade into anything relevant. But you see this low here is a key level on the hourly time frame, right, or the 30-minute. It's an hourly swing low, right? So what is this profile? It's the ideal profile where the low of the day is created from manipulation, right, to trade the expansion. So that would look something like this, right? If we go to ideal profile, right, the low of the day, the wick of the daily candle is created from manipulation, right? So then we could align the 4-hour expansion candle away from that. So if we go here, this is a valid entry, after the 30-minute closure that's creating the low of the 10 a.m. candle. So if we went to reversal types, entry types, it would be reversal. It's just where the low of a candle, of a 4-hour candle, is created from a fractal model. And that's what we see here, right? The 10 a.m. low is created from an hourly fractal model and a 30-minute. We're going to see there's no actual entry here. So this entry here is called the aligned entry type, right? It's going to be this. It's where the 4-hour candle is already a bullish expansion candle, right? It's already a bullish expansion candle, but you're just trading continuation, right, within that. So you're kind of trading within the already existing expansion candle here, and that 4-hour candle is already aligned. So here we have a C1 trades into this opposing candle or whatnot. We have a C2, so this validates continuation because we haven't taken out this buy side, right? This objective here. And this goes back to, we go to lessons. If we go to, where's it at? Where's targets? This goes back to intra-candle targets where the open low of the day creates targets, like session targets, right? Where you want to get involved before we take out these objectives, right? Like I said over here, if you have a higher time frame draw, you always want to get in before we take out these hourly draws, right? You want to be able, your entry, you want to be trading towards an hourly draw aligned with a higher time frame draw, right? So that's kind of what we're doing here, right? So we're getting in here before we take out this objective. So within this C2 candle, do we have a CSD, right? It's kind of hard to tell, right? Look right here. It's kind of like equal highs, really. So it doesn't really matter because C3 creates it. We make an opposing run and close through here. So that's a valid entry right there. You also have this ideal swing formation you could have entered on as well, but this is the main one we're focusing on here. Hopefully that makes sense. So moving on, the low of the day here formed at 6 a.m. from a 4-hour key level. And that would look something like this. Lessons. Let's go to New York reversal. Whoops, wrong one. It's 4-hour. It's in the 4-hour one. 4-hour profile here, sorry. Let's find 6 a.m. reversal. Where is it at? 10 a.m. reversal. Is this at 6 a.m. reversal? Sorry, that would look something. Oh, sorry, we're trading 10 a.m. continuation. I'm so dumb. Where's that at? 10 a.m. continuation. Sorry, it looks something like this, right? Where 6 a.m. puts in the low today, but this candle doesn't support expansion, right? So if you look here, see this large wick? We're not going to trade within this, right? Because it doesn't support expansion. So we're just going to wait for TAM to open to offer that possibility to form that small wick, right, to trade. So if you look here to the next slide, what are we opening up within? An already existing fractal model, right? We have a swing point, ideal profile, SMT creating low day, running out a short-term low on the hourly with a 4-hour time frame, right? So what this is doing, the market opens high first. It's not ideal, but it opens high first early on in the candle, right? And it comes back down, manipulating the daily range. So this is creating the wick right here, right? So we're getting involved around the daily open or basically below it. So here we have an ideal swing formation hourly time frame. We're opening up candle 4 and the 10 a.m. candle, right? Open, low, high, close into objectives, right? The hourly time frame. So it's this session high. This is like Asia highs right here. So do we have a reversal in T2? Yes. Candle 3 expands higher. We open up, open low first. That's always ideal. And then we close through, valid entry, right? 2R is up here, a little bit past this target here. And as we see, 930 reverses the daily profile as well, which is a nice signature to see. Here, the daily time frame, we have a fair value gap, right? How does this look on the 4-hour chart? We have 2 a.m. running out this short-term low, which is the fair value gap high. And then if we look here, if we want to trade a New York reversal, 6 a.m., we're going to enter within the time period of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's the kill zone, especially around drivers, which you're going to see is what we do. In order to trade a New York reversal 6 a.m. candle, you also need that small wick. So if you look here, 6 a.m. reversal, it looks exactly like this, right? Where 2 a.m. hits a key level, right? But we're reversing off that candle's low with a small wick. So if we look here, right? 2 a.m. candle hits this low, and we reverse off that candle's low. Small wick supporting expansion. And then 6 a.m. reversal, 10 a.m. continuation. Right, so SMT creating the low of the day on the hourly time frame, another ideal profile. Here is the 8 o'clock candle, right, creating a candle to reversal. Notice how this daily candle forms too, right? It opens low, right, with no established high of the day. Right, so this is very high probable. When there's just failure swings creating the high of the day, we're also opening low. So there's that intra-candle targets. I'll go back to targets here. It's always the same thing. It's literally this, right, where we open low, right? High of the day is just session highs. It's like a continuation signature, right? If this here, where is it at? I think it explains it in here, maybe. Maybe it's another section. My bad. But basically, it's just when the previous sessions create a continuation signature, meaning they either consolidate or they retrace, right? We don't reverse from retracements or consolidations. So that adds to the narrative, right? Especially when you open low. So you see those two things are kind of being combined here. And like I said, the low of 6 a.m. candle created from an ideal swing formation. So we're just trading 9 o'clock candle around the driver, so 930, expansion into these highs. You see how we fail to reverse off of these highs, right? We form a candle to closure that forms the 10 a.m. low, right? And we also close above the new day opening gap, so we have that aligned as well. We're just trading that into the previous day's high. If we look here, right, 930 opens up. We also create two-stage SMT, right? An SMT confirmed by SMT. And then we get that expansion this high. I didn't mark out the 10 a.m. candle action here, but here is the closure in candle 2. And you have some sort of, opposing candle. It's pretty ugly right here because it's, I don't know what day this is, but that's just really ugly. This is like 2017 data. I don't know why it's kind of ugly. But here, swing formation on the daily time frame, trading a candle 4 continuation, right? Ideal swing formation on the daily time frame. How does it look like on the 4-hour candle chart? We expand into this high over here. Now, what type of phase of price do we get, right? Consolidation, which again is a continuous signature, meaning we're not likely to reverse after consolidating. So when we take out the opposing side of the range, right, also a fair value gap, this is high probability, right? This is a 2 a.m. reversal, London reversal, 6 a.m. continuation, entering around drivers. So pay attention to this low of the day here and why you can trade this, right? Small wick into the 2 a.m. candle, taking out, you're hitting an objective and also Asia session lows. So like I said, whatever session you're going to trade, look at the previous sessions. Do they create a continuation signature? Yes, we do, right? It just consolidates, right? The high of the day is literally like failure swings, right? With the previous high here. So when you manipulate, you can expand towards those unestablished highs, those low resistance objectives, right? So you see 2 a.m. candle low, it's formed from a fractal model. So you can trade this right higher, right? Here on indices, we're more focused on the New York session. So here we have this candle here hitting this objective, right? And we're just opening up within a candle, or not opening up, but the low of the 6 a.m. candle is formed from a fractal model. And we're just, this is the 9 o'clock candle, I believe. We're just trading that higher, right? You have 930 creating SMT here and also forming the wick of the candle 3 and validating that as a continuous signature paired with a driver. So here you enter on the creation of the CSD. And here's what I mean by the pros and cons. So if you wait for a retest here, you miss the whole trade, right? You just did all that hard work waiting for all these things to align just to miss the trade to get, a couple of points, smaller stop loss. It's not worth it when it's like this, right? Especially when you close near the opening price of the CSDs, like there's no point of just, letting that go. Might as well just get in the trade. Here we have, just expansion range where we have a bunch of low resistance liquidity. We manipulate to trade back into the range. So whenever you want to trade back into a range, you want to trade away from protected swing, right? You want to trade away from manipulation to expand back in the range. We don't want to trade retracement back in the range, right? Because we don't want to trade away from low resistance. We want to trade away from high resistance, which is a protected swing. And by the way, this is 6 a.m. manipulation, so 10 a.m. expansion. If you look here, we just look at 4-hour profiling for 10 a.m. continuation right here. This is this exactly right. 6 a.m. manipulation, 10 a.m. continuation. Right, 6 a.m. manipulation, 10 a.m. continuation. Are we opening up within a fractal model? Yes, right. We have a candle to closure. Right, we're just opening up. We have yet to take out this relevant objective, so ideally you want to get in before we take out this low, which is what we do. So we also see that 930 reversed the day, which is always ideal. And here we're opening up within kind of this, opposing candles being possibly created. So it's just expansion, retracement, and then we open up this candle to expand again. Then we create the opposing candles. So this is like a form of intracandle CST where the high of the candle is created or protected by opposing candles, right? So you can enter on the close again. So look here again. If you wait for the retest, you miss the whole trade. It's not worth it, right? Just market execute here on the close. Here's another valid entry as well. So what about this here, right? This is an example where it just doesn't deliver. It's just slow, which happens, right? So here we have a 6 a.m. reversal. We can expect a 10 a.m. expansion into these failure swings. Here's the fair value gap on the forward time frame, creating the low of the day. So we're opening up within a 1-hour fractal model. We have a C2 closure. We're expecting a C3 expansion. Now, here is also paired with 930. So this opposing run, this could be avoided, right? Because if we go back here, this wick is quite large, kind of disrespecting the 0.5 of here. So it's kind of optional, right? We can avoid this day here, technically, right? Because the candle also opens high first, right? But I would still count this as valid, to be honest. It's just kind of like this here, like the profile's fine, in my opinion. It's just this right here. This could be kind of avoided, right? With this kind of disrespecting the 0.5 of this. Either way, if you do enter here, right, with your stop loss, if you put it down here, it's just you don't get 2R. So like you can put the body, in my opinion. Here is just a day where we close the day off. We don't reach a target, so you have to close early. All right, what about this day? It's a daily chart, kind of just ugly, right? But we have an inside bar within this candle, and we open near the low. So this daily candle opens low into this reversal point, and it's a reversal into expansion candle, right? So which is also in my course. So if you go to reversal types, I believe it's this section. No, whoops. Be here, I think. Notes. Yeah. So how do you trade a candle to reversal? It's either when C1 hits a key level and you reverse off that candle's low, or it's when we open up near a key level, right? So if you look here, we are opening up near these lows. So it has to open up near them because if it opens up far away, it can't create the small wick. So if you open up near the key levels, it could create the small wick. We just have to have a shallow run of the key level, right? So if you look here, this is the daily open. So it opens low first, and then we expand away, right? So there's another Asia low today, and we're just confirming that with drivers expanding away from the low today. So if you look here, the 6 a.m. low is created from a fractal model. So it's the same thing as this, right? This is just a continuation. It's not a reversal candle, right? It's not a reversal into expansion. I'm going to add this into the thing, into this section, reversals, because it just shows here a reversal into expansion, but I also need to show just like a continuation candle, right? Just an expansion candle, which is, this right here. Right? This is just an expansion candle. It's not a reversal into expansion. But a reversal section just highlights that the low of a 4-hour candle is formed from a lower time frame reversal, right? A lower time frame fractal model, right? This is what we see here, right? We see this candle here forms a low of 6 a.m. So it's just a fractal model. You could trade the expansion here into these relative equal highs here. So here's 9:30, runs out this short-term low in C3, and we get a closer above. So very high probability trade right here, and you can trade into these equal highs here. Moving on, I think it's a losing trade, but here we have these lows, right? The daily candle is kind of consolidating. We manipulate into these lows. So here is a 6 a.m. reversal into expansion candle. Here's 10 a.m. We'd be expecting 10 a.m. continuation into these feather swings here. So what do we see here? So you could have traded this 6 a.m. candle right before a swing point. You can trade this candle higher, but I think that's just before. If you trade pre-market, then you could have traded. I don't trade pre-market, but whatever. Here we create the low of the candle from a 30-minute fractal model, right? We already have order flow aligned, right? 30-minute opposing candles. That's the key level to create the 10 a.m. low to trade these highs. But it's just a loss, right? We have a C2. What you call it? A C2 CSD. And here we get that intracandle CSD, right? Where we open low, create the wick from a opposing candle for continuation, and it's just a loss, right? So nothing to cry about. Here's the daily chart. Previous day, manipulation creating SMT, right? Large wick as well. You have these equal highs here, right? So we can expect this next day to expand these highs, confirmed by a profile. So here, this is the daily opener here. Kind of expand away from the open. Here's 6 a.m. hits a fair value gap on the 4-hour chart. It's also lower time from SMT at the low today. So it's an ideal profile. And here's all these lows that we want to target, right? And here's 10 a.m. continuation. So if you look here, ideal profile, because the low today is created from SMT. SMT is manipulation, so the other asset is taking out this swing low, right, on the hourly time frame. So here we run out all these lows, and we're opening up within a candle 3, and you're going to see that the close of this candle is pretty terrible, but there's a lower time frame entry. Right? So here's the C2 candle right here. Here's the close above, right? Here, entering this candle here, right? You have the ideal swing formation, right? It's pretty ugly. I don't know why. It's not even a bank holiday, I don't think. It's just like 2017 data. But here's the opposing candles being supported, right, into this high, right? It's also 9:30 manipulation, so it's high probable. Here, is we have an SMT here that this day created. So you can already expect a reversal off of this high, right? Just trading back within this candle's range. There's going to be a lower time frame target here. So here, what do we have? A fair value gap, right? We have 2 a.m. hitting this previous high. And then you have 6 a.m. reversal, creating a swing point. And then candle 4 on the 4-hour chart. It's just a continuation, right? So 2 a.m. reversal, 6 a.m., 10 a.m. continuation. Here on a 30-minute time frame, you could have traded this as well, right? And that 6 a.m. candle. Why? Because you have a small opposing run, right? So this would just be that aligned version of entry, right? We're trading a fractal model that's aligned with the expansion candle on the 4-hour time frame. And here on the 10 a.m. candle, we're opening up within a swing point, right? We still have our draw open, which is these lows for that 4-hour fair value gap. And we're just opening up with a candle 4, right? So we can trade this, creating the wick of 10 a.m. So here, we're pairing that with the SMT, right? We open up the candle here, open high into this order block, but also creating SMT. And then creating that intra-candle CSD, right? And just getting our 2R here. So you see that 930 expanding away from the high of the day. That is a confirmation, right? And this is a valid entry, right here. Why is this a valid entry? Well, because candle 2 here didn't create a CSD. I'm not counting these little candles as CSD, to be honest, right? But here, we open up here on candle 3, and we create the CSD. You could put stop loss above here, right? Because at 930, we expand away from that. What about this day here? This is the 4-hour chart. No 4-hour key level besides this opposing candle. Why is this opposing candle? Because we have SMT. So the other asset runs out this short-term low. This is the opposing candle that is responsible for that low. And this is the closure, right? But it's really about the way this candle forms, right? So this candle forms, opens low first, right? Small opposing run, 6 a.m. reversal, 10 a.m. continuation into these low resistance highs. See these equal highs right here? So you see the Asia session, London session don't really do anything. Then we get that ideal profile where the low today is created from SMT, right? We're opening up with a fractal model here. As you see the 9 o'clock candle, 1-hour candle, they also close, right? So we're trading candle 3 to this high. Also pairing that with 930. So again, using drivers always to pair with entry or validation of a reversal, etc., right? Confirming a bias or whatever. So here, this is a valid entry as well right here because the candle opens up here and creates this CSD. This CSD here is kind of just like whack though, in my opinion. It's like these small candles. So here's a more refined CSD, right? We're going to create an ideal swing formation off of these levels. So really either or here is fine to trade. But here we create this SMT as well. So it's really high probable here, this entry. So what about this day? This is an example of trading this profile. We have a very large opposing run. I wanted to throw this in here. So this is under wick size. How to trade a reversal candle, right? So the high of the day must be created in Asia session early on in the candle, and we must open low first if you're going to trade a bullish reversal, right? Why? Because we want little to no wasted movement in the candle, right? We don't want to open high and then low and then trade high again, right? We want to just open low and then trade high back to the opening price here, right? And then the low of the day created from an hourly 4-hour key level, just like normal. We're just adjusting our targets, right? We can adjust our targets back to the daily open or maybe like London session highs, right? Just back into the daily range, right? Here's how it's going to look pretty much, right? Ideally, you want to pair a reversal with, a red folder. You also want the high of the day or low of the day to be formed before 10 a.m., right? And then you want to trade a 4-hour expansion candle away from the low day back to the daily open. So that's what we're doing here. Keep going to that. So here, we're trading a 4-hour expansion candle back to the daily open. So we open low first, create some sort of reversal, and now we're trading back within the range. So here, we have 9 o'clock candle, right? Creating SMT, right? So we opening up with any fractal model, we have a ideal swing formation here. So we're trading candle 3 and 4 back into the new day opening gap, or the 1800 high here. So what are we pairing that with? A driver, right? 930 reverses the daily candle. We have a CSD in candle 2. Candle 3 opens low into this fair value gap. Also have this little SMT closes through. That's a valid entry, or you could wait for the tap there. And you have just a couple more entries along the way there. And we're TPing at the 1800 candle. Why? Because we know it's not likely to expand past that, right? It's more likely to close back in the range because the wick, this opposing run, doesn't support expansion. Moving on here. This is the daily chart, right? Previous day runs out this range low. We're trading to the range high. This is under this is under targets, right? We run out a range low, we target the range high. Simple as that. So how does it look on a profile standpoint? So this was the previous day we just showed, by the way. This is that reversal day. So we traded this day, now we're trading this day. So what we see here is we open low, 6 a.m. actually hits this 4-hour fair value gap on the lower time frame. So SMT creating the low day. We're just trading 10 a.m. expansion, right? So the daily wick supports expansion. You see that small wick. Now this candle doesn't support it. So we're waiting for the next candle to open to align expansion candles. Right? So now we have the daily expansion candle aligned. Now we have the 4-hour expansion candle aligned. Here we also have the hourly expansion candle line. So see how we're just trading expansion candles in the same direction. Here we have 9 o'clock candle creating this SMT. And here, this is technically valid to enter on this closure, but the stop loss is just too large. And I don't like to enter when price retraces back into opposing candle, to be honest. Like when it expands away enough and then starts expanding back into the opposing candle, or even retracing, I would rather just wait for a lower time frame swing to form or just another opposing candle. So here, I'll wait for another opposing candle to form off of here, right? But it is valid to enter here or a retest of this, but it's just my preference, right? So here, we get that validation, so I can minimize my stop loss here, and I could target this high here. Now, this is the next day. So these are all 3 days in a row, right? Where we expand into relevant highs. What phase of price do we get? Like, we're always going to ask yourself, is it continuation phase of price, or is it retracement that's also continuation, or is it a reversal where we expand away? Here is obviously consolidation. So if you want to trade a consolidation, ideally we run out the lows first in a bullish, continuation signature to expand away into the consolidation high as target. So consolidation low as reversal point, consolidation high as target, which is literally just this. That's really what it is, right? And here's the fair value gap as well, which is the consolidation low. So here, 6 a.m. reversal, 10 a.m. continuation. We open up within a fractal model, so we're trading candle 3 higher. But you're going to see everything's aligned, but it just doesn't work, right? Here, we have this, we close above here, right? So you can enter this. This does go 2R, but whether you holding the full position here, this doesn't hit the full position. So if you didn't go break even here, that's a loss. If you do go break even here, it's a break even. If you just take 2R, that's a win. But here's 930 reversing the day. So literally everything is aligned. It's perfect, but it's still not 100%. It can't work every time. So you just can't. You did everything right. There's nothing you can do, right? You just have to live with that. Here's the next day, right? So these are all days in a row, by the way. So here is a 6 a.m. reversal, right? 2 a.m. candle hitting this opposing candle and this fair value gap. And we're reversing off that candle's low, right? Because we can trade this candle because of that small opposing run. Here's 10 a.m. continuation, right? So 6 a.m. reversal, 10 a.m. continuation. So the low of that candle is the hourly time frame. It's formed from an ideal swing formation, right? We're trading candle 4 here because this is 930. So again, within a 6 a.m. candle, we're going to revert to drivers to trade within, right? So here's 930. Now, do you see this large wick? It's actually taken out candle 3's low. So this is technically invalid, but in my case, this is valid because there's an SMT here, right? So if there's an SMT here, it's totally fine, right? Because here the 930 is actually printing a continuation signature away from this low of the day here. So you're going to see that. Okay, so see 930 opens up, runs out this short-term low, which is candle 2's low, I believe, or candle 3's or something. And we also create that SMT and we close back above, right? So I'm still expecting a candle 4 expansion, right? Price is not going to wait around for a new candle opening when there's like 30 minutes still left in this candle to just expand, right? It's not going to consolidate around this driver. It's going to expand, right? This candle here's wick is still small enough to expand, right? So that's that trade there. Here's a daily time frame, pretty large opposing run. So our targets are not going to be, very far past this open, right? Here's the next relevant objective, and we're just going to trade that, right? We have SMT inside this gap. It's always nice to see. So here, the reason why we can trade this, right, is because the low of the day, or the high of the day, created an Asia session early on in the day. The low of the day is created early on in the day. So there is enough time in the day to actually expand into these objectives here. That's the difference, right? We didn't open high and then low, create the low at like 11 o'clock a.m. or something, and then not have enough time in the day, right? We have a nice fluid motion where we're opening low first and we're just expanding, right? High of the day is created early, low of the day is created early. We're literally opening up 10 a.m. in expansion. So here's this continuation, right? So here we have a CSD, again, ideal profile as well, where SMT or manipulation can low day. And then here we have a CSD in the hourly time frame, which is not actually necessary, but it's just a nice confirmation or a nice addition, confluence. So here we see the 9 a.m. candle. So 930, what is 930 doing? It's expanding away from this low, right? So it's not reversing. If it's going to be a bearish day, usually 930 will actually expand lower, but it's failing to do that, right? From a key level. Okay, so we can expect candle 3 or 10 a.m. open to expand, continue that. So here we have 930 running lower, taking out. This is nothing, by the way. This is just candle 1's low, by the way, right here. So I forgot to delete that, but just ignore that. But we get a posing candle close. So we have a CSD in candle 2. So we're valid to take candle 3 entries. Now this little posing candle, again, like if you enter here, I don't really trust this. It didn't really hit anything, right? It did hit this opposing candle, but it's just kind of weird, right? I don't trust that little last thing. And it doesn't even take this out, so whether you enter that or not, it's fine. But again, I don't enter on retests. And if you enter here, put your stop loss here, this is not 2R. So I just waited for this second entry. And then again, this opposing candle is quite large, so I have to enter a retest here. And put my stop loss here. But you see how we didn't really expand away from this candle here? So I trust I actually trust a, what do you call it? Retest, right? Because we're just consolidating above the open, right? So it's not likely to reverse. Here, I don't know. It kind of just expanded too far for a retracement. I don't know how to explain it, but that's just something that you can figure out or adjust for yourself. Either way, doesn't take it out. It's a valid entry, but I like to wait for that more established low here. Here, these are all, by the way, still all consecutive days in a row. Here was that day we just showed, right, where this asset takes out the low. You're gonna see on NQ. We do take out the low. You see that? So this is the weaker pair. That's why we didn't take out this high. ES, we're trading a stronger pair, so it does take out this high. And you can see it's still the weaker pair because we're creating bearish SMT still, by the way. But here, we have this SMT here that's been created from this day. But when you have a large range SMT like this, I always like to confirm it with a lower side from SMT. So here, this SMT gets created. The daily candle also opens high first, right? So we have a 2 a.m. reversal, 6 a.m. expands away, and then also 10 a.m., right? So 2 a.m. reversal, 6 a.m., 10 a.m. continuation into all these failure swings, which is just a fair value gap, right? So external to internal. What we see here is 930 on the other asset actually takes out this high. So 930 actually is paired with the manipulation. It's a high probability. I mean, and we're also opening up within this fractal model, right? 9:30, 30-minute reversal, 10 a.m., C3 and C4 continuation here, right? So here we have a CSD in candle 2. Here we open up higher, run out this little short-term high, and we close through, creating our ideal swing formation. Now this candle here is not very bulky or anything, but the reason why you can take this is because you see this wick where it's positioned. It's positioned around the 50% of this wick, right? So we wouldn't even expect price to come back up. There's no reason to, right? We've already created that large enough opposing run. And we have a decent close here. So that's an entry right here. And then a candle for continuation is where within candle 3 we expanded, we retraced, creating opposing candles. Candle 4 just expands, its retracement expansion and closes below those opposing candles, right? Validating this as the wick. So you can trade that as well, right? And here's our target, the daily fair value gap. So I think it's maybe our last example. I'm not sure. Here you have a swing point on the daily time frame. Candle 4 continuation, small wick supporting expansion. When we go to lower time frame, does this candle support expansion? No, right? So we're waiting for the next candle to open, right? So 6 a.m. creates low of the day, 10 a.m. aligning back with expansion for continuation. What are we opening up within? A lower time frame fractal model, right? Where the 9 o'clock candle creates a candle 2 closure, and we're opening up within a candle 3, right? To trade towards these equal highs here. Right, so here there is no candle 2 reversal. So candle 3, or within the candle 2, we have this little SMT. So this is the opposing candle for the CSD. So candle 3 opens up and creates that CSD. So that's a valid entry, right? Entering on the creation of that and putting our stop loss below the low. And just targeting a simple 2R. And that's all the examples that I've got. And we'll go through some questions. I can go over some trades that I took. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that clears a lot of stuff. Hopefully that shows you the process from the top down. So, should look at gold Thursday 2 a.m. 4-hour hitting key level. Fractal one inside. On a wick. Okay, Thursday. I think I remember this actually, or like some fractal model overnight or something. Oh, was it this manipulation of these highs and then this continuation? Okay, so it's opening up within this. So let's go to lower time frame real quick. So this is 6 a.m. opener here. Now the thing about this here, right, very large opposing run. So what do we have here? It's opening high first, right? So we can trade back to this, right? We're trading a 4-hour expansion candle back into the range, right? Key level was this daily high, right? So see how we can trade back to this? It's the high of the day is also created before 10 a.m. So early on in the day, there's enough time in the day to expand back into the range. So if you drop down, see what we got here. We have that candle 2 reversal right here. Where's candle 3 open? It opens right here and then validates this as the opposing candle. So that is an entry right there. And then you can have a continuation entry right here. Here's candle 4. And there's really no entry right here, to be honest, right? Because this candle is just too large. So really, either one of these entries is cool. I would probably wait for a retest right here because this stop loss is like way too large. It's like huge. So 2R or like whatever you want to target, maybe a standard deviation. You can mark out this. So 2R is right there, -4 is right there. And you also have this one, right? Whether there's SMT there or not. But yeah, that's a good example. Thanks for bringing that up. This is a little early on in the day, though. I don't typically trade like pre-market. That's like 6 a.m. in the morning. Um, so I don't really trade that time, but yeah, see how we trade back into the daily open here? And I think people wanted like um, continuation day, but it doesn't make sense, right? Because people want a 10 a.m. candle lower, but in order for this to even happen, right? Like this space between this low or this current day low, the daily open to this low is quite large. So expecting continuation, past the daily open this far is kind of too much to ask for, to be honest. And I wouldn't even long this day either. Like it's just not a day to trade. That's the profile really. It's like to trade back to this and that's it. You know, we're not looking for continuation higher because again, there's not enough time in the day to open high, low, and then high again. It's just not enough time in the day. Um, but yeah, that was a good example. What's up, KP? If the 1800, 2200 puts the low of the high end, you just consider if the other 4-hour candles make a lower time frame model that's aligned with the. Yeah, so like I'm I'm never gonna trade like London. I don't trade London session, but this kind of goes back to AM's the way he approaches it. If the markets kind of creates a large range away, kind of expands away from the Asia, low a day or high a day. There's no real reason to go back to that. Let's say you're bullish, right? We expand away from that. I'm always going to refer to a driver to continue that expansion way because that's actually what validates it. Because if it's a bearish day, right, those drivers are going to reverse price usually, right? Um, and also when you expand away from the daily open like that, it starts to basically filter out a bearish expansion candle day, right? Because bearish expansion candle days have small wicks. So you're already aligned with bullishness at that point. So if you trade like New York and there's still an objective open and Asia's low today, you just look for continuation in New York, right? Pretty much. But if you're a London trader, it's kind of hard to gauge, right? Because you don't have enough data. And this is also goes back to AM's profile where he will not look for trades within the 1 o'clock 7-hour candle because you don't actually know if the low of the day or high of the day is put in. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you don't have enough data. So it's hard to actually know. Something's wrong with the audio. Oh, it's on your end? Okay. For your entries on these examples, I noticed you enter on the candle that confirms the OB. Um, are you kind of just anticipating that close entering right before the... Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, actually, the example. I noticed you enter on the candle that confirms the OB. Ooh, I don't know what you mean. I don't really know what you mean. Hold on. Thinking about like entering on the creation of an order block? It's like this? I'm not really sure what you mean. Have you tracked how many of your trades in percent you take before 10 a.m. versus after 10 a.m.? No, I haven't. Um, nah. I'll probably say a majority of them are 10 a.m. though. Probably 10 a.m. Look at Friday YM shorts. It's so clean right now. Why can't we see this as it's happening? Wait, what do you mean? As it's happening. Let's see. I took NQ shorts. I don't think there's much of opportunity here. Maybe this. Right, so this is the 6 a.m. candles already aligned. Does you have me take out this objective like already? I'm not really, you know, interested anymore. I want to target that, right? So let's see if there's a valid entry here around like 9:30. So 9:30 is literally the next candle. It would have to make an opposing run higher and then close through right here. That could be a valid entry. Technically, but I don't take these. Like this could be a valid entry possibly. This high is kind of weird, but and that works out, but this as well. It could work, but I took NQ. Let me show you why. right? So if you look here, I entered before we took out this range low, which I think is YM's range low. And you see this low, this is the only relevant low, right, in between this low, right? So you have the range high that's relevant, you have the range low that's relevant. Now in between here, you really only have this low that's like relevant, right? It's Asia lows or like London lows. If I show in the hourly time frame, this is that somewhat relevant low, and it's not even close to this low. So if price fails to manipulate this low, we're going to continue to this low, right? So that's what happened. So you're going to see, right? We take out this low, we fail to manipulate it, we actually close back through it, right? Which is a continuation signature. Does that make sense? Do you trade? Pay attention to 4-hour structure. Like pay attention all the key levels and trades. Yeah, like I trade. I don't trade structure necessarily. I just trade like key levels from 4-hour, like 4-hour key levels. So like order blocks, highs and lows, fair value gaps to create the low of the day, high of the day. This is very good. 10 out of 10. Nice. Looks like 10 a.m. is the best candle to trade. I would say it's the easiest for sure. Yeah, because at that point, I would say like as far as like New York reversals, the 10 a.m. candle is not very. It doesn't happen often. It's usually the 6 a.m. candle that reverses. With those drivers. So, yeah, like you don't have to do much anticipation at all with 10 a.m. It's like the daily profile is usually already printed. And you're just trading continuation. But that's only if there's some objective to trade to. Like if I show you an example of like a 6 a.m. that just expands with a huge range. 10 a.m. is not tradable, right? Like let me try to show you an example. Like right here, I would never trade a 10 a.m. continuation right here. Right? 6 a.m. creates a huge range, right? You're not going to get a 10 a.m. continuation with a large range. It's something you want to avoid. Where's another example? Right here again, 6 a.m. large range. I'm not looking for 10 a.m. necessarily. Maybe to this objective here, but you're usually not going to get a model within this. This is no model. We're not opening up within a fractal model. The high of the candle is not open up within a fractal model. So I can't even trade that. Is it possible you can add a section to highlight your key levels that you look for? I think that's in there. I believe, right? This is fair value gap, highs and lows. It's the same as T trades. So like I use the fractal model, so I use the same key levels. Yeah, you either caught it. 6 a.m. Yeah. Can someone tell me the indicator that separates the candlestick? This is a paid version, so I don't think you're gonna be able to get this one. There's a free link somewhere that someone can link you though. It's pretty similar or something. How do you anticipate to confirm the size of a wick to be small and protected high-low on a lower time frame fractal model? Right. So it's like this. So you see when we actually run out, as soon as we hit a reversal point, right? You're going to look at the wick size. So see the daily wick here, right? As soon as we hit this reversal point and also create SMT, this is a potential reversal point, right? Especially with SMT. So when we get a fractal model at the reversal point, that kind of confirms the higher low of the day for me, right? And then, when I look at the 4-hour wick size here, especially on like ES or something, the weaker asset, see this small wick size? See how this high and this high are spaced out? So when you have spaced out highs and lows, these are not failure swings. So these are relevant highs and lows in the market, as well as this one. So you're more than likely to get a reversal off of these highs and lows, especially when you pair that with SMT. Right? You see this small wick here, right? Once that's created from a fractal model, I'm gonna show you. See this fractal model with the 9 o'clock candle, and then I'm not gonna trade this because I wait for the driver to pass. But once the driver expands away, then that confirms the high low of the day. And I can just look at the wick size on the daily candle And I see it's a small wick, right? So that supports expansion. If I was to show you a 4-hour candle that like opens up within a key level, so let's just go back to this. So like here, right? Or here. Like, do I know that, this, do you know for sure this is going to create a small wick? No, you don't. But you can already anticipate it continuing because of the lower time frame, right? It's already within a lower time frame fractal model for continuation. Within an hourly fractal model, you can't afford to expand. So when Tinium opens up within that, it's opening within a candle for continuation, and you get a lower time frame confirming the low of the hourly candle, right? Candle 4, which also confirms the low of the 10 a.m. 4-hour candle, then that confirms it, right? And it can obviously fail, right? But more times than not, this is what happens, right? This is how you confirm it. You're literally confirming a 4-hour low from a 5-minute opposing candle, right? Within a lower time frame fractal model. Does that kind of make sense? And so here, this day, right? This candle here, right, does not have a large, it does not have a small opposing run, right? Because we want to trade bullishly, right? Because we have the S&T here. Like I said, we consolidated, we manipulated into this fair value gap. This is a continuation signature, right? Price isn't reversed from failure swings, right? So we're going to wait for that 10 a.m. candle open because this candle here doesn't support expansion higher. So how do we actually know that this is going to expand and create the small wick? Well, it's when we get a confirmation within candle 3 on the lower time frame. So literally all it takes is this wick, right? Because we've already manipulated, right, on the lower time frame. So after manipulation, just expand. Like you don't need a deep retracement, right, to create the 10 a.m. wick because we're in expansion. Right, 930 already manipulated. You see this expansion already is occurring, and then the candle 3 or 10 a.m. open confirms that lower time frame reversal here. Right, so therefore, we expect the 10 a.m. wick at this point to be created from the opening price of this CSD or this low, right? Because it can confirm this CSD and then continue lower, right? But our stop loss is below here because we don't expect this CSD to actually break, right? Because that confirms a reversal. So the 10 a.m. wick should form between the opening price of this reversal or the low of this candle. But you don't want to see a deep retracement, right? And then here, it's continuation, right? On the hourly time frame or the 30-minute, we see candle 4 after a swing point is created continues into these failure swings, right? And how do you confirm that? Is me open low, creating an opposing candle and close through it. And so here we're just closing through opposing candles because opposing candles support expansion, right? Does that kind of make sense in a way? Um, yeah, it's recorded. How to do trade 6M candle? Do you know? Um, well, mm, I don't really know, bro. I couldn't give you like an answer, like a direct answer, like a percentage-wise answer. But I trade it enough. Like I trade it a couple times a week. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to pay attention to both. It's like an if-then process. Like, if 2 a.m. actually reversed today, then I should be seeking continuation in 6 a.m. candle. Let's say it's a New York reversal. Well, there has to be criteria met, right? It needs to have, I need to enter within drivers. Um, come time that there's a driver, if there is no established low or high of the day, then I want the driver to create that. I want to manipulate the daily range. And then, can I trade that? Is there a small wick supporting expansion at 6 a.m.? Then sure, I can trade it. If there isn't, then I have to wait for 10 a.m. It's like a if then type of thing, right? The oranges on a lower time frame are on the candle that closes over the open of candle. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the same thing, though. Like, I think this is what you're asking. So, like, if I entered, you know, on the close of the candle that created the CSD, that's that's quite literally the same thing as entering on the opening of the next candle. I think that's what you're asking. It's like the same thing because where the candle that closes that creates CST is where the next candle just opens. Is that what you're asking? Maybe I'm confusing that. I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like the same thing though. I'm not entering before the CST, by the way, though. I'm entering at the direct close. So yeah, basically open of the next candle. But yeah, I have to enter, after the CST is confirmed, of course. Um, where we at? What do you use as correlated pairs? Oh, with these three pairs, there is none. I don't think there is any. I barely trade these pairs. Like, it has to be like super clean. Your inches on lower time frame. Already went over that. Are there specific areas you personally anticipate the? Oh yeah, for sure. Like relevant levels. So, not every single day, but you can have an idea already where the daily candle should reverse from. Like, if this is going to be a bearish dated, it will reverse from this high, right? Because if we come up here, it doesn't make sense to do it, especially at a key time, right? We're taking out this high at like 9 between 9 and 10 o'clock, then it should reverse, right? And again, like I said, if you take this range low to this range high, these are relevant levels, right? So when NQ takes out this relevant high, right, then that's a like a area that you would want to see a reversal off of, right? Um, and then you have this high here as well. This is just the current day's high, so like 1800. So the candle just consolidates for real. You can also trade this. This somewhat makes sense. I think AM even longed, right? I saw some people long. It makes sense to be honest. But if you trade the 10 AM candle, you don't have to anticipate nothing, bro. Honestly. So if you look here, it does make sense for some longs if I show in the daily time frame, right? Because you have a consolidation range here. This previous day manipulates the lows, right? So you can expect a 10 AM continuation. And there is a GXT long here, by the way. It's right here. So you have this low that's ran. You have an opposing candle close. And you have the 6 AM candle right here. What is the 6 AM candle low created from? Where's it at? Right? It's created from a fair value gap and a candle 2 closure. So you can trade within this candle. It's just pre-market, which I don't really do. It's really up to you. But here is this is the entry right here, right? Where candle 3 validates the CSD. So you'd either enter right here, for your stop loss below here or here, whatever. And you would TP at this relevant high here. Right? So it looks something like that, which is the range high rate. The separation between this high and this high is quite significant. That's what validates a relevant swing, right? Because if these were failure swings, you'd want to see them all get taken out, right? But if let's say we fail to manipulate this high, that's when you would see continuation to this high, more than likely. But here, we get a two-stage SMT, which validates a reversal. So you get this SMT here at the range high, and that's confirmed by a lower time for SMT. So this is what I don't even know what to call it, but I used to call it like switch up SMT or some shit. It's when the asset goes from bullish or like the strongest asset because it creates a higher high, and then it's confirmed by a lower low. So it goes from a stronger asset, now switches to the weaker asset, right? Showing weakness from this high. So it showed strength, but now it's showing weakness. This is something that's really good, right? It's really good confirmation. So when you see 930 expand away from here, that's about even better, right? Because prior to this, driver, we manipulate. So in a true manipulation, what do we do after that? We expand, right? So when the driver expands away from that, that's validation, right? So that's what gave me ideas for shorts. And I mean, we fail to manipulate this low, right? Then we're going to go to the next relevant level, like I said. And these lows look very nice. When you look at the weekly candle, what is it also? It's a expansion candle, right? So see how we're aligning expansion? We have a weekly expansion candle here. So the previous week took out this high, we're reversing on this high. See, this is in my course. It's just on a weekly time frame. Then here, we have this swing point on ES. I'm going to show you. See this swing point on ES? Again, two-stage SMT. The high of the week is formed from SMT. So it went from a stronger asset, creating a higher high, to a weaker asset, right? Which confirms the high of candle 4, right? Does that make sense? So it's a little bit maybe advanced or whatever. And here's that relevant swing right here that we took out. But yeah, that's just some stuff there, right? Here's that small wick, right? And it would look something like this, where we have this opposing close candle here. We have the SMT from the high of the week. Manipulation. So it's kind of like my ideal profile, where I like to see the wick formed from manipulation. So this is the weekly candle, right? And then we see continuation is supported by this bearish SMT, reversing from this relevant high right here. Does that kind of make sense? So what we see here is the 1800 candles. Just the previous candles. So we have 1800, 2200, and 2 o'clock candle on ES. It just consolidates, right? So we have expansion. We kind of expand back in the range. We consolidate, and we manipulate the high with the SMT, and then we reverse. Okay? But yeah, this is like a swing point, right? And then candle 4 continuation. Now, would I expect this crazy move? Not really, but I can expect this previous low to get taken. You know what I'm saying? What time is it, by the way? Okay, we're already over an hour here. This makes total sense now that it happened at the time I was doing it. Oh, yeah. What day is this? Oh, YM. Yeah. Once you choose 30 minutes. So, like, on some of these cases, you might have, like, a 30-minute close, but not an hourly close, and vice versa. It's really whatever you want. So in this case, I couldn't tell you because I didn't take a screenshot of both of them. It's really your preference. The thing is, I don't think there is much of a difference, to be honest, between the 3-minute and the 5-minute. There's not much of a difference for entry, to be honest with you. So, I just take whatever is present. Sometimes you might have a 3-minute order block, but not a 5-minute order block. That actually happens quite a bit. Like on Friday, there was a 3-minute order block, but not a 5-minute order block. So I just took the 3-minute. It was a large enough opposing candle that it makes sense for continuation. So it's really up to you. Like if you want to stick to one specific time frame, that's up to you. Oh, nice. He sent you that. How long do you think manipulation lasts when there is or not news, for example? Does he 1 hour? Just get a bit confused with POIs. Actually ended. There's no news for 1 hour, 9 o'clock, or 10 o'clock. I don't know what you mean by over. It's just about hitting. It's not about like. It is about time in the day. Like you want these key times to reverse price. It's more about just the relevant key levels. Like you gotta. It's really about learning like what key levels are actually relevant. Like not every fair value gap is relevant. Not every high and low is relevant. It's also relation to the way the candle's forming, which is like a whole nother stream. It can get a bit advanced. It really can. But you don't want, like, I would never expect a manipulation of the daily candle to be at like 11 or 12. So it does have a lot to do with time in the day, or what time, you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't reverse like basically early on in the 10 a.m. candle, like the first hour, then I don't even count it as a manipulation. Like 12 o'clock manipulation, that's not a thing that I look for. But yeah, like if you get a 9 o'clock closure, that should be the end of the manipulation, right? We should see 10 a.m. expansion, really. That's the ideal scenario. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see that 9 o'clock closure fail, and then, it's not likely to work. If a key time reverses, then there's no reason to sweep it again. Um, so if you log in and don't see a fractal already getting the high and low of the day, you just skip the session. Yeah, if like we don't reverse from a relevant level, then it's not really interesting, right? I use Top Step. I'm gonna go with Apex pretty soon. Just the rules are kind of whack. I have to adjust my style to like more of a low RR system, which is fine. I think Nico uses them. I've seen people get payouts with them, but I've seen people get denied, so it's kind of weird. But probably gonna try them out pretty soon. Remember reading somewhere where open opposing run pack continue. Yeah, that's probably correct. Like you want to see the opposing candle or the low of the candle created early on in the candle, so there's more time for expansion. Probably a good rule, general rule to follow, right? And that has to do with the wick size, right? If you create a large opposing run, it's more likely to take up more time of the candle, which is not ideal, right? Which doesn't support expansion. So if we're a candle, did you want to see the wick? Like the first 35. Oh yeah, probably like the first 1 or 2 hours, I would say. But yeah, if it forms earlier on, that's better. But I don't have like a time limit for you necessarily. I need a clip of him talking about when to trade 10 a.m. when he says 10 a.m. is. Yeah, so if the low of the day, high of the day is created from New York reversal, with paired with the time driver, then 10 a.m. is like really high probable. Which I showed you a bunch of examples of that. Where was it at? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's like over here. So even this example, I think. See how 930 creates a low of the day? As long as it doesn't expand, this is ideal too. You don't want the reversal to expand. You want to trade the hold expansion daily. You want to get in, like I said, before we take out these highs. So if 930 reverse and expand into these highs, like that sucks. It's not as interesting at all, to be honest. Right, so here 930 reverses, 10 a.m. opens up here, validates this as opposing candle, right? So now you have a manipulation paired with a driver, which is nice. And then I have some examples. Here is also a driver, the driver trading away from the low of the day, right? That's another confirmation. Let me try to find another one for you. I think this is a good one. Yep, so again, this is a small SMT here, by the way. I didn't mark, I think I remember. So you see 930 expanding away from this fair value gap, right? That's another confirmation. You see how this little consolidation up here? This is ages session high. That's also nice. And yeah, we're just going to continue continuation, right? Where we still have a draw open. So it's really about the draw being open. Here, prior to 930, we create this SMT, which forms an ideal profile. So you see 930 creates SMT and then expands away. So that's another validation. Here again, we have 2 a.m. low of the day. So if you're going to trade 6 a.m., this is ideal. If you have a London reversal, then 6 a.m. continues. And you see here, you get continuation from a fair value gap. And then 930 is expanding away from that, creating SMT. Here's how you pair an entry with it. But yeah, we're probably going to end this pretty soon. But here, we take out this high, right? With the 9 o'clock candle, which is 930. So you see how 930 is expanding away from that? And you get continuation. But I'm probably going to end this here, guys, because we're over an hour here. But yeah, guys, hopefully that cleared some stuff up. Can you show an example of the day where you didn't execute? Probably next time, or I'll send you in chat. But there's plenty of days, right? It's just about, if the daily is already expanded, then I'm not really interested, right? Because I want to catch the expansion. This is in my course. I go here, go to targets. This is what this talks about really. Is ideal entry is before we take out these hourly draws, right? I don't want to enter up here, like after we take out these draws. So that's a negative condition for me. Another one is just like if the profile sucks, if there's no profile, if we're not reversing at a key time, or no relevant key levels have been hit, or we just didn't reverse off the key level, you know, there's multiple things. But would you consider live trading? Yes, I would. That's something we're talking about. Something I have to like schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, we're me, Kiko, and Nico. I think want to do that. What are the main instruments you trade? So it's indices, oil, and gold. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a good weekend. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you TJBX for recording. You all have a good weekend.